the illustrious Mr. Terrence White.
Good morning, Toastmasters. Today, we have the pleasure to hear from Dan Williams. He'll be doing Project 7 from the Competent Communicator Manual, researcher topic. Different sources, different material, as well he'll be pulling his information from. Dan is currently an advanced communicator gold, working towards the requirements to become a distinguished Toastmaster. His speech is entitled Longevity. Please join me in welcoming Dan Williams with Longevity.
A few weeks ago, I was reading an article about longevity, and the author stated that he had looked at some insurance statistics, and it states that we can now live to be 125 years old. And that article stated there was a study done from Penn State University in 2004, and they predicted by the year 2050, the number of people living over 100 years old in America will go from 50,000 to 800,000 by 2050. And the U.S. Department of Census says that every 7 seconds, somebody here in the United States turns 65 years old. So look around. When I'm done, somebody's going to be 65. So this got me to wonder, what is the cause of us living so long now? My fellow Toastmasters, today, this morning, I'm going to share with you my conclusions of my research to find out the secrets of longevity. There was a study done by Rand Corporation in 1996 for the National Institute of Health. And the study was on marriage and mortality. And they found that married men live longer than non-married men. And that non-married men have 2.5 times more problems with mortality than married men. Well, that got me to think, why do married men live longer than non-married men? So I did some more research, and I couldn't come up with any conclusive answer. Well, I thought, I've been married 44% of my life, so I'm eminently qualified to come up with some conclusions why married men live longer. And I've come up with 3. The first is married men eat differently than non-married men. Now, when I was single, I knew my 4 food groups. The donut food group, the McDonald's food group, the pizza food group, and of course, the beer food group. I knew those well. But when I got married, I should have realized that my eating habits would change. Because I had a mother. Women, for some reason, like green things. And my mom would always put these green things on my plate and tell me to eat them because they're good for me. Do you know where green things come from? The ground, the dirt. And you know what's in that dirt? Bugs. And snakes crawl on them, and rats crawl all over them. And do you know that snakes and rats do not know how to use the bathroom? Guess where they do their business? On the dirt, near those green things, maybe on the green things. Now, my wife likes green things. She puts them on my plate and tells me to eat them because they're good for me. Because she tells me I eat them. The second thing is that marriage causes men's minds to think. You know, men can only do one thing at a time. We can't multitask. Now, women are amazingly great at multitasking. And they think men can multitask too. We really can't. But the reason they think we can't is because when they're having conversations at us, we give them this look that says, I'm really interested in what you're saying. In reality, our mind is doing this. And it causes us to think because we have to come up with great answers because during those conversations they're going to ask us a question. So here's how it works. Let's say my wife wants to have a conversation. And she'll start on a single subject, which I can easily follow. But then, for some reason, somehow, unbeknownst to me, she is on a totally unrelated topic to the first topic, which leads her to another unrelated topic to the topic before that. And so my mind starts getting blank and going confused. And I get that look. But then she does it. She asks me the question. Now my mind is completely sorted out, but because she's asked that question, my mind immediately wakes up and digs into the vast storage of my brain for those smart answers. And so I'll come up with something like, what are we going to have for dinner? Now the third thing is, and this is probably the most important, is our survival technique. We've learned to survive. And that is because our basal ganglia is working full time. Now if you don't know what the basal ganglia is, let me explain. It is called the reptilian brain. It's located in the middle of our brain, in the bottom, right next to the spinal column. It's very similar to the hardy reptiles had before the mammals, roughly 200 million years ago. And it's responsible for heartbeat, breathing, and the fight or flight mechanism. Now, it's a fight or flight mechanism that helps married men with survival. For some unknown reason, married men are afraid of their wives. They are. And their basal ganglia is constantly stimulated, particularly when their wives ask them questions regarding fashion. And one of the most scariest questions is, how do these pants make me look? Well, immediately the reptilian brain signals the adrenal glands a release of adrenaline, the heart beats faster, the breathing gets quicker, sweat comes on our heads. And we're thinking, what do we say? Now, our initial thing is to run and hide, to the fight. But what we'll do is men will choose to fight. We'll stand up there and lie. Say something like, those pants really bring out the highlights in your eyes. Hopefully the pants aren't purple. So there you have it. The 3 reasons why married men live longer than single men. They're forced to eat green things. Their minds are constantly bombarded by these multitasking stimuli, so they have to think. And they develop a really good sense of survival. So my advice for any of you unmarried men here, if you can survive marriage, you can live to be 125.
We have a minute on the clock, please.
Good job.